Hi there, it's Mike Simons. Today I'm going to discuss the topic of are there any changes that I would have made in terms of any choices in my life to this point. And we're going to go from that and segue into a quote that my mom also told me growing up. And we know how our parents are. You know, they give us quotes all the time and tell us things when we're younger, and we're like, man, what are they talking about? And this one in particular, I didn't really realize the weight of it and how important it was until much later. And this quote was from my mom, and she said, the only thing you can count on life is change. And it really rang true to me right around the time I was 21 years old. And I'm going to bring you through a few of the events of my life that really created changes in me that made me who I am today. So the first, of course, is right when I was 18 years old. I'm getting ready to go to college. I'm all excited, all this new freedom. I get to college, I'm like, wow, look at all this stuff there is to do. And I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, what do I do next? And then I realize, man, there's no one telling me, hey, you need to go to bed. You need to do your homework. Hey, there's tests next week. So I realized very quickly that that freedom gave me a lot more responsibility. And that event right there really put forth a little responsibility that I've carried to this day, that always have some sort of a schedule. And to me, that's probably one of the first and most important things I got from college. So, you know, after 2 years or so of school, I was also playing soccer while I was there on scholarship. And right around my junior year, I realized, you know what? I'm not talented enough to progress and reach the goals that I want on just talent alone. And for the first time ever, I was really going to have to work my butt off outside of practices and do and try different things to get better. And so that was a 2-year process of really constantly always trying to get better. And that event right there, that realization that, hey, I need to work harder at this, and eventually working real hard and meeting that goal really taught me that, you know what, if you set a goal and you work really hard for it, the sky's the limit. And I've carried that to me now, and I've carried that through a lot of other instances in my life. So from there, we moved on another couple of years, and I graduated from Northern College with a computer information systems degree. And I was kind of ready to move out into the real world, but at the same time, I still had this dream. I had this dream of being a pilot. I wanted to do it since I was little. I took aptitude tests that say I'd be good at it. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go out and chase this dream. So I enrolled to get a second bachelor's at St. Cloud State, Minnesota in aviation. So that event right there kind of made me remember always that, you know what, if you really have a dream, there's gotta come a point in time where, you know, you go for it at one point or another. Otherwise, you're always gonna be wondering what if. So I go to flight school, I'm there, I'm having a great time, I graduate, and I get this offer from Delta Airlines. And man, I was the envy of a bunch of the other students at the time that were graduating, an actual job with a big airline. So I'm packed up, I'm ready to drive down to Atlanta, big new first professional job, and I get the call about 2 hours before I get on the road saying, hey, we're announcing we're going bankrupt. We have to hire someone from within, we gotta promote someone from within, we can't hire you. So, you know, of course I was devastated. I did not take it well at first, but it did teach me one important thing, that in the business world, there are things that really affect you that aren't always in your control. In this case, it was the company was having problems at a much higher level, and it affected me down at the lower level I was going to be coming in at. So that kind of steered me in the right direction going forward in terms of looking for other jobs. Kind of look at how the company's doing as a whole before you make any commitments. So from there, that dream was kind of on hold at the moment, so I went back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I was from, and that next event that I'm going to touch on here was an interesting one. I took a job with Abercrombie at the time, recruiting people to work in the stores. At the time, I was like, man, I have 2 degrees. What am I doing talking to kids to work in stores for a retailer? You know, but at the time, you know, I thought, you know what, it's paying me money, but in a much broader picture, I get to talk to people all day. And I figured networking is going to be the only way I'm going to find a job in this city in aviation, really. So that's what I did every day. While recruiting, I asked everyone, hey, does anyone in your family work in aviation, etc. And it finally, after 2 months of doing it, one girl's dad happened to be a president of an aviation company. Gave her my resume, and he called me the next day, and I had a job within 2 weeks. So it really taught me that networking is key, and stay with it. Even if sometimes you got to take a lower level job, it may have the potential to turn into something big. So from there, I worked with that aviation company for 3 years. I was waiting for that call for the next big promotion, and I'll never forget the day I actually got it. And I answered the phone, and I was so excited. HR was on the phone. They said, "Hey, we got a job you'd be perfect for, big raise, but it's in Corpus Christi, Texas." So as soon as I Googled it and figured out where this was, it's like, wow, it's across the country. So I made the leap at that point in that event. I learned that, hey, sometimes in order to get ahead with your career, you need to take that big jump. And it may seem scary, you won't know anybody, but I really learned that sometimes for your career, you need to move. And I've carried that with me too. You can't stay stagnant. So once I got down to Corpus, which is where I am now, I'm working there, and I get given some employees for the first time, some actual real professional employees I need to supervise. And I really learned a lot from them. I learned that you can't use a broad stroke across all of them in terms of management. Everyone's a little bit different. They respond differently to everything. And that event right there really helped with my people skills. So all these events, what they've had in common, which they all triggered some sort of change that I've carried with me, and it's changed my personality and the way I view things. So in thinking back and saying, would I change anything at all? Probably not, because the changes that I did have to make along the way and adapt to, they made me who I am today. Thank you very much.